All right. Hello, everybody. This is Brad Johnson, reporter with the Texan. I've got State Rep Cody Vasut here from Angleton. We're going to talk about the state legislature next year. Cody, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Brad. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And we're at the Texas GOP Convention. A lot of people walking around, a lot of stuff going on. Chairman Matt Rinaldi has already won re-election to his chairmanship with no opposition. So that's the latest big thing that's happened. But Cody, going into the session next year, obviously it's a long way off, but I don't think you have an opponent, right?
I do not. I do not.
So you have a lot of time to prepare.
Yes, sir.
What are you keeping your eye on as we get closer to the legislative session?
You know, we're putting together a legislative package right now, and as you know, things are fluid because issues continue to arise, but I think you're going to see legislation on gender modification, banning that. I'm going to do several bills there. I don't know if I'll be the main one that carries them, but we're going to file what we can. Property taxes, I'm going to file a bill to, one, to eliminate and replace property taxes, another to reform the property tax system, and I might do three.
On that property tax one, is that how similar is that to the TPPF buy down with the surplus money? Is that what you're thinking?
I'll do one that's a buy down of the school district M&O. I'll also do one that is just a complete elimination of all property taxes 10 years out. Now, the reason you might say, well, you do it 10 years out, that doesn't solve the problem right now, but you got to remember what we're dealing with, the way the House works. One, we've got headwinds of a fiscal note. Two, we've got headwinds of any counter proposal you put forward. They're going to come out of the woodwork and criticize whatever it is. And so I think if you just do a bill that eliminates it in 10 years and you force then the legislature to come up with a solution, they'll be more apt to do so. So I think you've got to hold their feet to the fire.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. And anything else you're about to say?
Yeah. I've got a bill that we're trying to work up about increasing transparency. We talk about parental control, and we talk about our school boards, and we know how important those school board races have been. Well, you have to track money at school board race levels, too, to see who's influencing the people that influence your kids. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to access that information right now. You have to go to each individual school district, pull the data. Sometimes you have to pay a fee. I think it ought to be available on the Texas Ethics Commission website and searchable, just like my finance reports are. You can fill them out right now on the Ethics Commission website as a school board member. You just click the file button. That's literally the only change. Okay. And so I think that'll go a long way to giving transparency. We got a host of other things, parental rights.
No, stay on that topic real quick.
Yeah.
Right,
Here's Briscoe Kane.
This is Briscoe Kane. You're talking about local stuff. So I think transparency in local elections I think will help.
Yep.
But also, how about making them register as lobbyists? So you got to register as lobbyists in Texas when you're taking meetings with members of the executive and legislative branch in the state.
Correct.
And spending certain amounts of money. Well, they're doing that on the local level, right? They're meeting with members of the legislative branch, city council, school board, the executive, superintendent, mayor.
Yes.
They're spending money on it.
Yes.
They're getting their deals done, their bonds, their expenditures, their buildings, all these funds, and we're not tracking it. I think it could also be another way of reining in the influence behind our school board races about building these massive Taj Mahals and other things, and where the money's going. And so I think it fits in well.
Track the reports, track the lobbyists. I mean, I think that's a great idea. Briscoe, he's dropping and going. He's dropping and going.
Wheeling and dealing here. Legislative brainstorming in real life going on.
I think that's a great idea.
Is there a quorum requirement for that?
No. You know, actually, there are some quorum requirements for committee stuff, and I wonder if committees have too many Republican members if we run into any issues here. I don't know. That's here or there, but I guess you're alluding to. I think maybe
that's the next topic. Yeah. So last year, obviously, the Democrats broke quorum twice.
Yes.
One of them flying to D.C. for a month. You filed a bill to set quorum requirements and punishments for breaking quorum.
Yes.
Tell us about that a bit, and is that going to resurface next year?
I'm going to refile them all, and I think where we run into with the Constitution is the 100 vote threshold. I think it's a very simple concept that Texans can all get behind. If you were elected to serve in the Texas House, you better show up and do your job. And it's a pretty simple thing. We're only one of 4 states that have a 2/3 quorum requirement. I think it's to our detriment. So I'd love to lower it to a majority. But I think in the practical sense of what we can get across the finish line with 76 votes is some rule changes, automatic penalties that take into effect if you break quorum. We're going to pursue those. So I think you would be well to pay attention to the early days of session when rules come up. That is something that I'm going to push, and we're not going to back down on it.
Yeah.
There will be mechanisms that we're going to pursue to hold them accountable. We can't do anything this next session for what happened last, unfortunately, and that I disagreed with that. I thought we should have held them accountable last time. But we can certainly change the rules going forward to make it less likely to happen again.
Yeah, one of those punishments that you laid out in the bill was, I believe, stripping chairmanships from anyone that participated in that. Obviously, Democratic chairmen in the House is a big topic. Many of the people that went were chairmen that broke quorum, so that would have applied to them.
Absolutely.
Is that something that you think is going to be another aspect of the punishment for a bill you file?
Everything is on the table.
Okay.
What my proposal that I'll file will be very similar to what I did the last time, which has a graduated system, which is, I'll give you some details. Those details may change, but approximately 24 hours you get a fine, 48 hours you lose your chairmanship, something of that nature, something a graduated scale that has as its chief objective not so much to punish, but as to get them back in their seats so that we can get back to work. But if they're not going to do their job, then accountability needs to happen. And I think stripping chairmanships from people that break quorum and refuse to return is entirely appropriate.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Cody, anything else you want to touch on there?
Man, I appreciate you having me out here. It's an honor to get to serve in the Texas House. I love the Republican Party of Texas Convention. This is a great place for grassroots ideas to find their wings in many cases. And the Freedom Caucus, one of the main reasons I'm a part of it is because we are devoted to advancing the legislative priorities of the Republican Party. I'm anxious to see what those are, and we'll get to work. We will file legislation on every single legislative priority. I may even do that myself. It's an important thing, and I'm anxious to see what the delegates come up with.
Yeah, they're hashing it out right now, the list of legislative priorities. I believe we'll finish on like 8, maybe.
Yep.
At least that's what they did last time. So we'll see how it shakes out. But Cody, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.